Hi everyone, Nick Hewitt here with another video tutorial on basic HTML and XHTML. I'm going to cover the differences between the two and also just tags in general and explain what each tag is and attributes and all that stuff. So most of it's going to be covered in this video, and then I'll get into more advanced stuff as we go along. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have you download the PHP development tools. It's an Eclipse IDE that I use for my HTML coding and stuff like that. It's completely free and it has code hinting, which is nice. So go to zend.com/PDT, and that'll bring you to the PHP development tools webpage, and you can download a version of Windows, Linux, or Mac OS X versions. So go ahead and download that and install it. And once you have that set up, then we'll continue. The first thing you're going to see when you go into Eclipse for the first time is you're going to set up your workspace. And basically all that is you're setting up a location on your hard drive where Eclipse is going to put all your program files, all your project files and stuff like that. So once you have that set up, you're going to have something that looks similar to this. I have a couple programs or projects already in my my workspace, but you'll have your code editor here, your outline if you're doing some kind of program, or you have a class or something like that. Eclipse actually outlines what your class contains, so you have your methods and functions, and then also your variables outlined here. And then you have your file and folder structure over here. But to go ahead and get started, we're going to right click in this Explorer window here, and then click on New and Project. And I'm just going to choose, I'm actually just going to choose a PHP project. It all works the same, so I'm just going to click Next. And project name, I'm going to do HTML Basics as my project title. Create a new project in my workspace. Use the default PHP settings, use the project as a source folder, and also enable JavaScript, so that way down the road when we decide that we want to add JavaScript to our HTML pages, it's already set up for code hinting. So I'm going to click Finish, and this is going to build my folder. But if I open this, I notice there's no HTML files or anything in it. These are just folders that I can actually get rid of if I wanted to, but they're just there to set up stuff for developers if they were to want to put their folders in a specific location or something like that, and just use like an include path in PHP, which I'm not going to get into right now. So right click on your HTML basics folder, click on New and HTML page. And what this is going to do, a new window is going to pop up, and it's going to ask you for a file name and give it index.html. And you can also do index.htm. There is XHTML, which I'm going to explain here in a little bit. But once you have that, your file name put in, click Finish. And it's automatically going to load in some code for you. And that's the nice thing about Eclipse, is it automatically loads some of this for you. But I'm going to explain what each piece is. The doc type statement basically tells the browser what kind of file or the way that the file should display. There's different standards that you can follow, and this one is the most widely used that I've noticed. And then the next thing is you'll have your HTML tag and closing tag. And the way that HTML works is you have to have everything encapsulated in this HTML tag here, and tags start with an opening bracket, the tag name, a closing bracket, and then your closing tag is an opening bracket, a slash, tag name, and then a closing bracket. You'll also notice there are some attributes, which is what this HTTP-equiv is, and this is just an attribute, and you're setting a specific parameter for this HTML tag. And then you also have certain things like the title, which affect the way that the browser works. There's two important pieces to an HTML page. There's the head and then the body. The head basically tells the browser information about the page, like the author, your browser title, and then also meta information, so like keywords, descriptions for search engines and all that stuff. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll cover that down the road. But the body is the more important piece right now. The body is everything that's going to get displayed out onto the web page. So if I want to put in this is my body and hit period, and if I save this, and I believe I have my localhost running right now, so if I go localhost /HTML basics, try and run that. No, I don't, so I got to start that really quick. Those of you who don't have a local host already set up, there's a video online that I did explaining how to set up XAMPP on your Windows machine, and it's pretty much the same thing on a Mac. I use a Mac over at work, and it's pretty easy to get going. But once we go ahead and get that started, this should work no problem. And my workspace is actually pointing to my htdocs in my XAMPP directory. So if you want to set that up the same way, once you save it out to your project folder is actually going to be the one that you want to go into from your localhost. So as you can see, this is my body. And if I go back in here, the difference between HTML and XHTML is XHTML, you need to have a closing tag. So if I want to put in a paragraph, which is just brackets, opening bracket, P, closing bracket, and then close that paragraph, this is following the XHTML standard. If I were to just do this, this is just the regular HTML standard. And when I say regular HTML standard, there really isn't a standard per se. But if you're trying to follow the XHTML, then this is the way to go. Another thing that you can do that makes a big difference is with XHTML, you can't do this. Oops. If, let's say I have an unordered list, and this is kind of going way ahead of everybody, but you'll get an idea. And then I want to put in a list item, and then close it here. You'll notice that li and then the b tag, and it really should follow that. So b should be first and then closing li. So it should the way that it's nested should be the same as when it started. So it just should work backwards. So now if I save this, this really isn't, it'll display correctly, but it doesn't follow the correct standard. It really should be like this. So if I take this out, paste it here, that's how it should display. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this video up, and I'm going to move on to more advanced things such as setting up tables and stuff. But once I have tables set up, I'm going to get into creating div-based layouts, which is the way you should do things. Table-based layouts, yeah, they work, but tables should really only be used for displaying data rather than for a layout. But stay tuned for the next video, and I'll be right back with the second portion of this.